Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So it's been a while. It's been a week actually, not a while. I hope everyone's good. I hope you're all keeping well. It's that time of week again. It's our usual Friday night live. Um, let's see who comes on to have a chat. So we'll do our usual catch up. It's been crazy busy as well. Um, Look at this. There's a new feature on YouTube. I can put people in timeout now from anywhere ranging from 10 minutes to 24 hours. There you go. So if you mess about, you can get put in timeout apparently. Oh, I hope everyone's good. Um, yeah, I hope everyone's good. Um, so yeah, like I was saying, it's been an absolutely hectic week. We're just getting ready for our last couple of markets of the year. So we've got a market tomorrow and a market on Sunday, one in Meanwood and then one in Harrogate for the last one of the year, and then we're not back on the market scene again till next February, end of February, early March, that sort of time. So it'll be a quiet couple of months once we get past this weekend, and then hopefully we'll get some more time back into the garden and catch up on a lot of things. Because I haven't even managed to get some time in the garden and clean up after last weekend's storm damage. Because there's a lot of the storm was really bad, and a lot of things got damaged. I still haven't had a chance to get out there and assess it properly and tidy up. But the ground's just so saturated. I mean, I went to feed the chickens this morning, and everywhere you step, it's just squelching. There's water floating on top of the grass. I mean, it's just right on top of the grass. So there's a lot of water in that soil at the minute. Adam, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope everything's good with you. Are you just wrapping up for the end of year and closing down for Christmas? Stallion Fish Keeping coming in with a super chat. Hope you're keeping well. Thanks very much for that donation. I really appreciate it. Cato family, how are you doing? Hope all your family's good. Hope everything's good with you and life's treating you all well. So yeah, hopefully after this weekend I'll have some more time back in the garden. Um, I'm my, I know I shouldn't be ordering more seeds, but I went ahead and did it just in time. So I got a load of squash seeds, a load more. What's it called? A few more varieties of chili. I can't remember what they are. They'll pop into my head. Sweet corn. Someone mentioned True Gold sweet corn not a few lives back. There's an organic variety of sweet corn for next year, so I think I'll give that a try and see how we get on with that. What else? What else did I order? I can't remember what else I ordered, but there's a good chunk of seeds coming in from Premier Seeds. And I like ordering from Premier Seeds. They give you a good amount of seeds at a fairly reasonable price. And I'm not paid by them, and I'm not plugged. I'm not paid by them. I don't earn a commission or anything like that. I just think they're genuine value for money, and it's worth getting. So managing to get on top of a lot of things. The gardens I look after managed to cut quite a lot of grass this week with it being so mild. How have you coped cutting grass with the grass being so wet? Because I wanted to give my grass a final cut, and I never managed to give it that final cut. Because I normally don't cut at this time of year because it's normally either too cold or something's going on. But I wanted to give it a cut, but the grass is just so wet. I mean, the lawnmower gets stuck every few yards. So I don't. How do you cope with it? But have you got one of those big fandangle, massive ride-on lawnmower kind of things that you're using? I was blessed with a lot of seeds yesterday, flowers and veggies. Oh, that's awesome. What seeds? Seeds for planting or seeds for eating? Zul 7 Barwaku. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. I'm going to enjoy the koi fry this season. I wasn't overwhelmed with the English weather and what grew kind of put me off, but we see. I mean, last year last year was just a horrible year. Some of my the weather messed a lot of things up for a lot of people, me included. Some of the things that I have reliable crops from, some things that I do really well with every year, just completely, yeah, completely ruined. I normally do well with my garlic. Every year I do well with garlic, regardless of the amount of plant. They always bulb up quite nicely. My garlic was the worst garlic I've had. How long have I been at this house? 12, 10, 11 years, 11, 12 years, that sort of time. It's been the worst it's ever been in that time frame, and I've never seen it as bad as this. Hopefully next year we'll get it back onto how it should be. So far the garlic's looking absolutely lush. It's come up to about that sort of height, 6 inches ish, and then it's just looking really nice. Yeah, it's just looking really nice and lush. I don't know what damage the wind has done to it. I know there was the wind was quite bad, so I don't know how much damage the wind has done it. So cooking over on TikTok, hope you're keeping well. So as usual, we're streaming over a couple of platforms. We're on TikTok and on YouTube.
Sorry.
So I'm gonna keep the cut high, but it depends on how wet it is. Can't get the machine on the ground. All done using pedestrian mower. I've got lawns that drain well, others that are too wet like yours. See, we're on a slope, so it should normally drain quite well, but it's just everything's just absolutely saturated. Just really, you know, it's wetter than I think I've seen it for a very long time, which is getting me worried, because I think we'll get a really heavy rain this year, and it's getting me worried for an impending drought again, like we did last year. Planting my daughter's agriculture program had tons of them and said I can have one of each variety. I was a kid in so the rain has been absolutely horrendous. It's the worst I've seen it for a very long time. But I suppose we needed it, you know, to top up from all the lack of rain that we've had all year.
But you know your printer, can it print out the stuff that has already been drawn on paper and stuff?
It can, but you're gonna have to show me exactly what you mean so I understand properly.
Well, if I make a drawing and I want to print it
out. Photocopy it.
Yeah, photocopy.
Yeah, we can copy. Yeah. Big Mac, Bobby, how are you both doing? Hope you're both keeping well. This year I was going to focus on getting the garden nice, paved, bricked in. What are you? Is that your backyard that you just want to just turn into a bit of a landscape garden? It's actually warmer than last year. Last year today it was very cold. Today it was 1 degrees. I thought it was getting, you know, a couple of weeks ago it got really cold. Not last week, but the week before. I was one of the markets. I think it was Harrogate maybe, and we were there in, you know, snowy conditions. It was snow out there. It was freezing, and I went and bought myself a load of thermal socks. So I bought like really thick tog thermal socks, a few pairs of them, and I went to the market last weekend, Wetherby, and I was there on my own. My wife's not been well, and I forgot to take my thermal socks with me, and I went in my and because it was pouring down with rain as well, I bought myself some hiking boots, because I'm going to be doing a lot of walking this year, not necessarily hiking, but I'll be walking about, leafleting quite a bit. So my trainers were getting a bit ripped, so rather than buying new trainers, I bought myself some hiking boots. Thought I'd be a bit sensible for a change, and I went to the market, completely forgot the woolly socks, and I forgot to take the hiking boots. So I stood in my So I stood with my in the rain with my ripped trainers and thin socks. um, so yeah, it's a nice mess now after the pond dig. Dogs bringing all the sand and mud. It was actually so. I need to get a buff neck cover. Buff neck cover. What's a buff neck cover? Oh, okay, Buff is a brand. Okay, I'm with you. I was blessed with a load of wood chips from the tree surgeon as well. It's been a good week. See, the tree surgeons have gone quiet on me again. I'm starting to panic again because I want some wood chips. Because because of all the rain, even the wood chip in the chicken run, it's too wet to try and sieve out. But it's too muddy and the chickens are all getting covered in mud. So I want some fresh wood chip, and all my usual couple of tree surgeons that normally sort me out with wood chip or sort me out with logs and stuff, they've just gone quiet and disappeared again. So it's getting me a bit worried because the last time the tree surgeons did that, I had a drought for about 2 years where I couldn't get any wood chip or any logs or anything. So it's got me a little bit panicking. Because I need some fresh wood chip on those runs, just so you can, just so those chickens aren't walking in constant mud and getting covered. Because I've got a load of, because I've got, they've got a load of white chickens this year. Do you know the chicks that we hatched out? We've got how many white chicks have we got? Probably 6 we had. Well, I said we had 6. We've got maybe 4 or 5 left. A couple of the hens died last year. A couple of the young hens. I don't know what happened to them. I was getting a bit worried. I thought it might be bird flu, and I thought I might have to report it to environmental health. Is it environment agency? And so I just sort of gave it a couple of days, see how it went, because 2 of them died one after another. 2 young hens, but luckily nothing else looked sick. None of the other hens looked sick. None of the other chickens looked sick. Everything looks fine. You okay, sweetie? Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Sure. Well, depends. Just wait. You think it's got something to do with all the value of wood now? I think normally, do you know what the tree surgeons tend to do is if they've got a massive tree coming down, so they can offload one whole tree, they'll dump that, either sell it or they'll take it up to the what's it called? Up to the biomass firms. Yeah, up to the biomass firms, and they'll sell it there. But when they've got little bits that they just need to offload, that's when they normally offer it up. And that's just gone a little bit missing. Yeah, go on. What are you going to say?
So there's an ad for the new Mario Wonder game, and it's where this little girl comes home from school and she goes to go say hi to her older sister, but she just closes the door, and later she goes skateboarding and doesn't say bye to her little sister. So and then the little sister is playing the new Mario game with her mum, I think. While she's just talking to her mum, she's playing it and her mum is watching. And then when her sister comes back, then they both start playing the game, and then the grandma comes and they all have fun playing it. And that's what they want you to think, and they're playing Mario with their families. Like, we had Mario on the Wii, and we were And then we will know what we'll, and every time we're all just shouting at each other. Zaki keeps going in the bubble. That's a thing you can do when you lose a life. Whenever there was an enemy there, Zaki would keep going in the bubble. We'd all start fighting over the power-ups. We would all start yelling at each other when someone died. And it was the last life we had to restart the level.
Right, you're going to do your life soon, so get your 500 points and you can do your life, okay? So I'm going to buy a chicken coop, but I travel a lot, so I'm worried I can't look after these chickens. Now, the thing about chicken keeping is they're really, really low maintenance. What you need to do is make sure that they've got fresh food and fresh water every day. But if you're smart enough, you can build a nice feeder that you fill up maybe once or twice a week, and it all works like an automatic feeder. Or you can connect your water feeder to the roof covering, so anytime it rains it fills up a container which then feeds the chickens water. So that's another option that you can do. So there's a few options that you can do. One of the reasons that we made some of them, but we don't use them simply because we like to go in and feed them, and that gives us a chance to inspect them every day. You don't really need to, but it's a nice time to go out and be with the chickens, if that makes sense. The other thing is the bulk of the work that goes on with the chickens is cleaning the coop out, because you don't want to let disease build up. You don't want to let too much poo build up inside, because that can be a cause for disease. So make sure you're cleaning it, giving it a good deep clean once a week. If you're not doing regular pooper scoops, if you're doing regular pooper scoops, then you could just top dress it after a week and then stretch your clean out to a couple of weeks. I'm not sure what zoonotic disease is. Have young kids worried about worms? When we've got young kids, the kids are in the chicken coop. Mine are in there. They're grabbing the kids. They're pulling them about. I don't vaccinate them, but I do worm them. Once a year, we do worm them, and as long as we've got deep amount of wood chip on there, so we're taking those wood chips away into the rest of the garden. So I don't think worms are really a major issue as long as we're worming them regularly, and plus we're giving them pumpkin seeds and stuff like that, and that's a natural wormer. So you think it's got something to do with the value? I read that one. Yeah, I was looking for bags of leaves for leaf mulch and seeing the surgeons. Oh, you're lucky. You're lucky. I've heard of more. Bird flu for the last couple of years in Britain has been absolutely terrible. I suspect that's the case across all of Europe, maybe even the US. But for a couple of years, we couldn't have free range eggs here because chickens weren't allowed out. Domestic keepers were told to keep chickens under a covered roof. So what I've got is mine. I've got half with solid plastic sheeting over the top, and then more than half, probably about 2/3 covered with plastic sheeting, and then the rest of it's covered with chicken wire, so nothing from outside can get in. Yeah. Is someone touching my... You got my mouse out?
No.
Okay, because my mouse keeps moving. What's happened there? Okay. Derek, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Big man Moz is here. Hope you're good. Could it not have been the cold weather with young chickens? We lost our hamster in summer because of the heat. I think it could have been. I don't think the thing is they've got all their true feathers on. When I say young, they're probably about 5 months old. 5 months-ish old. So they should have been able to handle a lot of the cold. They've got all the true feathers. They've got all the protection. It could have been a case of... I got worried that it was flu. It could have been... Well done, keep going. You've got 200 left to... Just under 200 left to go. It could have been a case of the big rooster trying to do his roostering on top of them, and they couldn't handle him. Or it could have been, some of the other hens pecking on him. That could also have been a thing that could have caused it, combined with the cold and the mud. Moz, I haven't been out on Friday for a while. I haven't worked. See, we're missing you, Moz, man. We miss having you around. Um, what are you thinking of the new pickles? I want some honest reviews of the new mixed pickle. I think because I'll be honest with you, I think it's fast become my favorite. Um, yeah, pumpkin seeds are good for the humans. I eat them dry. I don't. Do you know that you can buy pumpkin seeds, but they're black ones, right? And I don't like the taste of the black pumpkin seeds. I prefer eating sunflower seeds. Yeah, I like eating sunflower seeds quite a bit, but because sunflower seeds just taste of cardboard, and that's quite good. But the pumpkin seeds actually have a bit of a taste to them, so I don't like eating them. Yeah, I heard about a few million turkeys and a few million chickens having to be put down here in the US. Derek joining us from Germany. No bird flu there, but touch wood. I think we've hopefully the sort of lifted the chicken lockdown rules earlier this year, but there's still a few reported cases lingering about in the UK, so it's still something that we need to be wary of. My neighbour is not friendly. She will throw a fit if I buy chicken. Sunflower seeds make my face break out. So she can't complain about you having chickens. The only thing that isn't a problem unless you've got something specifically mentioned in the deeds of your house, or if you're in a council property and they say that you can't have livestock in your garden, that might be a problem. But for most private properties, keeping chickens is absolutely fine. Keeping roosters is a problem because of the noise. We've had I mean, I've talked about it for quite a few people will be sick of hearing it, but someone, the council tried to give me an ASBO for having a rooster a few years ago. And we took a break from keeping roosters for about 4 or 5 years ish, and then we've got this guy, and he's awesome. Yeah, loving the new pickles, especially the lime in them. See, I like the lime. I don't. I'm not a big fan of lime pickles. The patax is the one that you normally get from the restaurants or you normally get in the shop. I'm not a fan of that one, but I quite like this lime. Fry or roast them and then salt them with seashells. Okay. Do you know if you ever roast stuff? Have you ever seen them when you roast them just in salt? So get like a wok and heat a cup of salt in there. Really piping hot cup of salt. You can do the same thing with sand if you don't want to use salt, and then just chuck your nuts and stuff into there, and then just roast them in there. Maybe even add a little bit of paprika in there for flavour, or you can add the paprika afterwards. And then once they're sort of roasted, then just put them through a sieve and get rid of all the salt, and then you can have these roasted things. Then you can sprinkle your paprika on and maybe a dash of olive oil on as well. And yeah, that's the business. We do that with rice quite a bit and make our own murri. It's called. It's like having Rice Krispies. Don't crop me now. I hope you're doing well, and I hope to get YouTubing a bit more over Christmas into the new year. How have you been keeping? Hope everything's good with you. I had a chicken with a really bad mud ball on a claw this week. It was a nightmare to remove. How did you remove it? Did say you can't boil animal. Oh, classic. Yeah, the classic covenants that are in your deeds. No boiling animal bones and no making leather. I have a Polish crested rooster that I'm looking to rehome. They'll be cool little Polish little roosters. They look quite cool, but yeah, they're a little bit small for proper roostering. Have you tried roasted watermelon seeds? They're amazing. I bought it from you bought what from a Chinese groceries? Do I have fig trees? I've got a couple of fig trees. I had a really huge, massive fig tree. Really got, it was probably about 8 foot tall. Really nice tree. It started producing figs, maybe about 3 or 4 years old, and then last year it just died for no reason. For absolutely no reason whatsoever, the thing just died. I don't know why. So but luckily I'd taken a couple of cuttings from it just before it died, and I've managed to grow those cuttings, and one of my friends gave me a cutting as well. So we've got a couple of fig trees now. 2 are planted into the garden, and they're doing all right. Carter's Eat, how are you doing? Hope everything's good with you and your amazing family. Hope everything's life is treating you well. Yeah, it's really nice to see you. I had to soak her feet till I could get it off. Clip the nail in the process. She seems okay though. Have you propagated it? Yeah, I mean, figs are quite easy to propagate. It's one of those plants that the more you propagate, the more chances of success you've got. So you just take maybe 5 or 6 little cuttings, 6-inch sort of size, strip off all the leaves, bud upwards, stick it in a tub of soil, and they propagate so easily. Out of 5 or 6 cuttings, you'll probably get 4 that take. Sometimes they don't take. But they are really, really good, easy to propagate plants. So what's your take on seedless fruit? I'm not buying it personally. Sounds too suspect. I think it's artificially grown. Could be wrong. See, do you know, like seedless grapes? There was a discussion about seedless grapes. And I remember a while ago looking at seedless grapes, and they actually occur naturally in the wild. Because if you look at a grape, the way they propagate itself is they propagate from. So if you ever see a grapevine touch the soil, it'll really root really easily. So they propagate a lot like that. So you can get a lot of naturally occurring seedless varieties. I'm not sure if they're going to be artificially growing them or genetically modifying them, but there'll be a lot of cross breeding and picking a variety out so that they can pick the properties that they like. It's what a lot of gardeners have been doing for a long time. They might just speed up the process, so they're getting it in they're getting the mutation in a couple of generations rather than in 20 or 30 generations, like a lot of people would have done it. Do you have any videos on fig propagation? Look, you don't need a video for fig propagation. It's so simple. Look, I'm going to tell you about it right now. Take any branch you want, about a fingerish thick branch. It can be a little bit thicker, it can be a little bit thinner, it doesn't matter, but that's a finger thick branch is good enough. Okay, take that, cut it into lengths of maybe 4 to 6 inches, that sort of size. Push half of it into a tub of soil, into a pot of soil, and then just leave it. Do it in early spring when the leaves coming into bud, when there's loads of sap in there. It will take really easy. You don't have to do it when it's dormant at this time of year. Do it anytime during the growing season. It'll come on really well. It's so simple. I did an experiment. There was some people germinating figs in plastic bags and stuff like that. So I did an experiment a couple of years ago of doing it in plastic bags compared to just that method. And the stuff in the plastic bag just rotted, and the stuff in using the old-fashioned method just worked absolutely fine. So I don't think you need anything more than that. And yeah, so if I was going to do a fig tree propagation video, I'd just be fleshing it out with loads of useless information, and I can tell you about it in a couple of minutes. I think TikTok's destroying me. I'm getting a little bit used to being on short videos on TikTok, and I'm learning how to cram stuff in really quickly. So my previous rooster had a serious attitude problem, hated me. Are there any easy breed chickens and roosters? Okay, so our last rooster was absolutely horrible. He'd attack everyone. He'd even attack me.
He attacked me once.
Yeah, he attacked the kids. He attacked my mum. Normally, roosters don't attack males, or they're a little bit wary of attacking males. At least this guy is, the one we've got now. He won't attack me. When he sees me, he runs. But when he sees my mum, especially if my mum turns her back to him, he'll jump on her. Easy breed roosters, probably your tamest are going to be your red laying hens. So if you've got Warrens, or if you've got sort of Rhode Island Reds, these kind of, the red hybrid hens, they're generally a lot more passive. They're going to be the more chilled out ones. Yeah. Our last one was just absolutely horrible. The other thing is, if you've got a rooster that is a bit of it has got too much of an attitude problem, there's a few things you can do to him. Is you've got to catch him, you've got to grab him, you've got to show him who's boss, you've got to pick him up, you've got to walk about with him, you've got to hold him, while you're doing your chores around the garden, make sure you've got him under your arm so he knows that you're the boss. Now, with this one, anytime he looks at me funny, I'll just make myself, I'll put my arms out like that and just go charging towards him. So the minute he looks at me a little bit funny, I'll just do that, and he backs off. But the last one, if I'd have done that to the last one, he'd have come charging at me and picked a fight with me head on. He was absolutely horrible, the last guy. Sometimes you can just have an absolutely terrible one. I think the last one we had was the worst one we've ever had. So my late granddad had lots of grapes touching the floor, and he just planted them and left them. Yeah, see, there you go. I've got about 15 fig varieties in containers. I cover them outside during the winter. A good place to get them from is called Jurassic Nursery. I think I bought some thingies from Jurassic Nursery a few years ago. Sharon fruit trees. And I've just planted a couple so I bought them. They were tiny little twigs, maybe with one or two roots on. So it's taken me a few years just to get them ready to the point where I can plant them in the garden. But it was for what they were. I thought they were quite expensive. But hopefully we'll have Sharon fruit here in the next few years. I heard they take a chromosome out to make seeds infertile. Sounds like much hassle. The thing is, a lot of mutations, right? Mutations sometimes don't always produce viable offspring, so when you have mutations naturally occurring, they don't always produce viable offspring, so you don't get the next generation that's going to be like the parent, or you don't get the next generation even being able to produce. So there's a lot of misinformation about selective breeding when it comes to plants, because they mix it in with genetically modified. Um, and selective breeding is finding the biggest, juiciest fruit and propagating that, and for or you might find one variety that has really small seeds in it, and you just propagate that one over and over again. But genetically modifying would be you take under scientific conditions, you take species of an apple and crossbreed it with species of something completely different. There was an experiment that I heard about with tomatoes and fish from the Arctic. See if they can stabilize tomato shelf life. Fig has proper white sap. Yeah, fig cuttings are super easy. My best tip is to leave the cuttings into the second season before you disturb them. Often, there you go. Yeah, TikTok is very addictive, but I think, but I've been doing a lot of videos on TikTok as well, more for my personal account rather than my family garden account. If you want to get just one type of fig, the ultimate fig is one black. Whereabouts are you based? Tangerine isn't going to do well in England. If you've got them in a greenhouse or an orangery, you might do okay. I read white and black white. I read a while back that roosters are pretty intelligent and get bored easily and need things to keep them occupied. Yeah, I think he was. I think the last guy was trying to play with everyone. He was. He was a bit. He was just trying to get play with everyone. He was. No, I think that guy was just a proper mean little so and so. He was absolutely horrible. Like this guy's okay, He's I really like him as well because he's homegrown, and he's a bit of a mongrel. So he was cross when we got him, or got his parents, and then we've crossed him with leg bars and crossed him with ordinary red laying hens. So he's pure white, and then on his wings, right, he's got like red, a few red feathers on his wings, and then his tail is pure white, and he's got a couple of red feathers in his tail. And he's a big lad as well. I like him. He's got the fluffiness of a red laying hen, but he's got the agility of a leg bar. And I like him. My mum wants me to get rid of him, but I quite like him, and I think he's a good one. But he ripped my mum's clothes. Not so long ago. He ripped my mum's clothes. She went out to feed him, and he jumped up and did his roostering on. Yeah. So we need to make a decision with him. They need plenty of hens. They need plenty of hens. How many have we got? We've built our flock back up. We need to get some outside blood in again, I think, because we don't want to be inbreeding too much. We've got, I think, we're back up to about eight-ish chickens, but a few of them are roosters. The first batch we had one rooster, two hens. In the second batch, we had three roosters, three hens, and two hens died. So I think we're on about 6 hens, I think. There's if it doesn't work out, there's always a pot for a naughty rooster. Or get up.
I remember you killed a chicken like that once.
Yeah, I don't think you remember it. I think you're a bit young. I think you're a bit young for that. Yeah.
No, in the 80s.
Yeah. So Zion rules forevermore. You can go in the bin. Block account. Bye bye. Go and sit in the bin. Okay. That's it. Yeah, get into the bin. So we blocked him. Yeah. There we go. You've been blocked. Seal roosters. The only problem with them is I don't think they'd be safe around. Yeah, they're really good looking ones, but I think they're a bit rowdy for
I
us.
did not drop this.
Yeah, you don't want to be,
You dropped that.
you don't want to be playing with that. So you have to be kind of sick to write something like that at a time like this. You need to stop asking that question on here.
Who asking what?
Yeah, don't worry about it. You can come around and ask her yourself, but you need to stop asking that on here.
Who's that one? Could you just friend on me?
Yeah. So okay, I'll take it off him and put him official overwinter. Any tips for my dwarf trees getting onto 3 years old? I have fruit, but suffered early fall-offs. Any tips to rectify this? So move them. So with dwarf trees, they're going to need they're going to need to have the compost refreshed. Whether you do it by one of the most common way of refreshing compost is to pot them up. Move them from one size pot to another, slightly bigger size pot. Or the other way is to do what I do is, compost tends to sink. So lift the pot out, or lift with the plant out with the root ball, and put loads of compost at the bottom with slow release food, so unbroken down material, and then put the plant back on and let it settle, and it'll spread itself there. Yeah, one of your friends is asking about you, but I told her she can ask you personally. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'd do. But you're going to get some drop. If you get that with fruit trees that are in the ground as well. If the tree's got too much fruit on that it can't handle it, so they often call it June drop. So if the fruit's got too many fruits that it's set, it can't handle it, it'll drop a load of fruit in June. So you will get that. If they're dropping a lot later than that, then it's more likely to feed problems. Yes, buddy.
You know how I asked you about the printer thing? I was asking so I could make comic books and sell them at the market. You know how you sell.
You need to get onto computer and design them properly. That's why I keep telling you need to learn CAD and programming, and you need to learn all of it, mate. You need to learn everything. 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 You need to learn everything.
I don't need to.
Couldn't someone tell this kid he needs to learn to program?
How is it going to help me?
It's going to help you because you're going to be super smart then.
How is it going to help me be a writer?
Yeah, look. Coding with Mosh is good channel for coding. There you go. Coding with Mosh. See? Yeah, he said learn coding. There you go. Yes. Your dad's smart. Listen to me.
I know learn coding.
I did a spring prune from a dwarf tree and got a huge apples off it that year, but I have to be careful with which branches to prune. Yeah, so you don't end up taking a load of fruit and buds off. But most of us thanks for that. I've got the dwarf apple tree in the ground. I'm my best to pot it. No. If it's in the ground, that's the best place it can be. Leave it there. That's that's where it's going to get lots of food. At this time of year, give it a good mulch, compost, and a bit of wood chipper or something over the top. So something that's going to feed it early and something that's going to feed it slowly. Yeah, just watch out for June drop. Watch out for, if it's only a couple of years old, it might still be just getting, finding its feet and finding its roots. I got some semi-dwarfing fruit trees, and it, the trees in my garden, well, they say they're semi-dwarfing, but they're absolutely huge now. And it took me probably about 5 years plus before they started to fruit. I think the first one that fruited was the apples. The pears took a lot longer to fruit. One pear fruited after about 6 years or 7 years. The other one only started fruiting about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And the plum produces loads of flowers, but just never sets that many fruit. We got 4 plums off it last year. Gave it. I still had June drop. I wonder whether to dig and refresh them. Don't dig. Just mulch. Rob's allotment gardening. Rob, how are you doing, mate? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Let's block you as well.
What did he say?
He just he just wants to support Trump, so he can get blocked. Spurs 1-0. Don't prune the leaves. Don't prune the leaves. Leaves are good. Yeah. Our scouts are doing Raspberry Pi code in the Apple Store. Also does some free workshops, family youth. Look at that. Look at that.
Look at what?
Raspberry Pi coding. Do you know what a Raspberry Pi is?
I don't know. They made no Raspberry Pis.
A Raspberry Pi is a little computer.
Oh.
What's your opinion on when to plant fruit trees? Some say autumn, winter for the rain. Others say spring, summer for the sun. Are you planting them from seed? Are you planting them from? Are you planting bare root plants? The thing is with bare root trees, for example, they're normally available during the dormant season, so autumn to winter, and they're available for that time because that's when people are digging them up, taking them out, bundling them up, and sending them over. So that time, bare root, you've got to plant when they're dormant. You won't often get bare root in the summer. What you do with the bare root, you'd plant if you can't plant them directly into the ground, and take the bare root and stick them in a pot them up, and then once they're potted up, then they've essentially become a potted plant. And with a potted plant, you can plant any time of the year. A potted tree doesn't really matter. I've always planted bare root simply because they're dormant and they can resist. And the reason they're doing bare root like that and in the winter's time is because they can. One is because they're not taking up loads of potted space, so they're a lot more cheaper to ship and they're cheaper for us to buy. The other one is that because they're dormant, they're not trying to grow at the same time, and they're not trying to put any energy into that, so they can just find the feet, and then come spring, they've got a load of fresh soil to grow and spread the roots into, and turn into a wonderful tree for you. So yeah, winter, definitely autumn, winter, during the dormant season. So what we got? Manu. If the tree is bare root, I would not move. I would move it when it's dormant in winter, but if it's potted plant further into spring, summer. So the hard pruning, the pruning that you're supposed to do. So you've got a couple of things, right? When it comes to pruning fruit trees, so with um, you're speaking to me in a language that I don't understand. I have no idea. So you're getting blocked as well. But okay, that's the problem with TikTok. It's still okay. You've got a nice audience, but a nice wild audience, but you still get a lot of nutters. Uh, it's still maturing a lot. Um, so with hard pruning on fruit trees, the best time to do that is winter, and winter prunings tend to promote a lot of growth. Okay, but you do your main prune. I do my main prunings of fruit trees in the winter. Um, take out any branches that are growing the wrong direction. Take out any straight up branches. Take out any crossing branches, any dead or damaged branches. They're the basic rules. So the hard prune would come in winter, and then in summer you just give it that little structural prune, a little bit of a tidy. If you've got the odd little twig that's going the wrong way, or you've got too many, then you might give it a spur prune. If you've got too many spurs producing too many fruit, you might take some of that off. Um, a little bit more of a shaping prune in the summer. Um, just a little bit of a tidying prune, but in the winter is where your main pruning should be done. So do you ever use mycorrhiza when planting powder and liquid? If you've got mycorrhiza, definitely do it. I mean, mycorrhiza is much better done on trees. Remember, fungi have a much more of a relationship with trees and woody plants than they do with other things. So I wouldn't waste your money on it. On buying that sort of stuff for ordinary seedlings. I wouldn't use mycorrhiza for that. Um, I don't think you need to. But you want to build up fungal life in your soil anyway. When you're composting, you want to have a mix of slow compost as well as fast compost. Slow compost made with a lot of leaf mulch to build that fungal life. Fast compost to build that bacterial life, and the two should work together. It shouldn't be an equal either or. It should be a good balancing act. I use a lot of wood chips in my soil. There's been patches I've dug up, and you can see fungi strains or strands running in the soil. There was a couple of privet plants that I dug out, and you can see the mycorrhiza fungi all around its roots. So you will get that. You will get that growing, but your soil has to be nice and healthy. If you're doing it in pots, then yeah, if you've got trees in there, put in some mycorrhiza fungi, it'll help it really good. But build that compost. So up from kumquat door 3 years ago, never had any fruit ever since. Before I was getting up to 50 fruits. What? See, kumquats, that's a plant that I want. So I've never grown it, so I can't tell you much about it. But loquat's another plant that I want. Have I grown saffron? I have grown saffron, not with much luck. Yeah, I have grown saffron, but not with a great deal of luck. Do I net the apple tree? Someone gave me advice to do it. I don't just do it thinking of everything I can possibly do to produce more than the size of it. So the reason people net fruit trees is to stop the birds from eating them. If you haven't got a problem with birds eating them, then you don't need to net them. If you've got a problem with birds eating them, then net them. But apples I don't net. I wish I could net my cherries because the fat pigeons are always eating them. Um, yeah. Uh, get you blocked as well. Yeah. So I'm getting manure delivery on Sunday. Not sure how other people are finding sourcing manure, but it's getting more and more difficult to get around here due to. The thing is, we've always struggled trying to get deliveries, but since I got my little trailer, right, there's horse stables around the corner from. Well, I say around the corner, about 10-minute drive from where I am, 15-minute drive, and they'll let me have as much horse manure as I want. It's not, it's a donkey sanctuary, so I can just have as much manure as I want. But the only thing is, I've got to go and load it myself and bring it back and then unload it. It's not a nice thing to do when it's wet because you've got manure juice running everywhere. Um, my wife didn't. Now I've got my trailer. My wife doesn't complain as much. She didn't like it much when I used to bring it home in the boot of my boot of the car. That's when I'd get I'd get into a little bit of trouble. My granddad used to bury food scraps around the garden. Oh, yes, yeah. See, we do that. We do that a lot. So what I, you know, we collect kitchen scraps in a bucket just outside our back door. And then now, what I do now is instead of burying it, I used to bury it like that, but now what I do is I do no dig trench composting. So I'll spread the food scraps. I'll mulch the garden with food scraps, and then I'll chuck a load of stuff over the top of that, whether it be wood chips, whether it be leaf mold, or just leaves, or whether it be grass clippings, or the last one I did was all the chicken bedding went straight over the top, so it was like a couple of inches of food scraps covering one square of the bed, and then it was loads of chicken bedding straight over the top of that, and that's going to turn into lush, nutritious compost. The only thing about that is just be wary of animals digging it, and just be wary about if you're near. You've got to be a bit more careful when you're doing this kind of stuff when you're near water sources, because you can leach stuff into water sources, and if you're next to water sources, then compost them and protect them a little bit. So my gourds are really slow and still only male flowers are about 60 centimeters tall. What country are you? You're New Zealand. The females will come. Um, the females tend to turn up a little bit after the males. So you just gotta be patient for the females to turn up. It's like life, the men are just waiting around for the women to turn up. or I think the female flowers are still getting ready. Get, I recently purchased CO2 dissolving tablets for aquarium. I'm going to bottle the tablets after. It'll be a good experiment to see if it makes a big difference. Oh, that'd be amazing. Low cut seedlings. That'd be absolutely amazing. I would, yeah, I'd definitely take you up on that. Um, so Midland sounds exotic. Uh, I'm from the north. Well, I used to say I was from the north, but then, well, I still say I'm from the north. Well, then there's a proper couple of northerners that turn up. Um, so Rob's back to football. Rob, see you later, mate. We'll see you again soon. Um, I've used the father-in-law's car to collect. So he's the father-in-law's car, not your family car. Infinity the Rural Rider. How's the homeschooling going? What's the best time of year to plant plum trees? So homeschooling's going good. We've signed up to a couple of online platforms. It's good, but it's expensive. I'll tell you that. Yeah, we signed up to a couple of platforms. They're doing really good on that. I need to get out of my busy period from work, and then I can give them a bit more time. Once January is over, the kids will get a lot more of me. Yeah. So, what's the best time of the year plant a plum tree? If it's a bare root tree, plant it now. Now's a perfect time to plant it. Really good time. Just make sure that it's got plenty of drainage with the ground being so wet. Yeah, but now's a really good time to plant it. Why are these rubbish plastic coops so expensive? Because they know that people are willing to pay for them. If you want a plastic coop, get an old IBC. Most places you can get one for free. You just need to do a bit of looking. You can even buy an IBC for 50 quid off eBay, and they'll deliver it. Cut a door at the front, cut a door at the back, or cut a door horizontally, so you can, and hinge it, attach some screws with some hinges on, so you can open it up and down like a flap and shovel everything out, and you've got a ready-made chicken coop. Don't spend stupid amounts of money on an egg loo or an igloo or whatever they want to call it, loo. Yeah, they know people are willing to pay it, and they know people are willing to. They know they can take money off people. Toss stones. I don't know if I said hello to you earlier. I didn't notice you coming in. We always build our own coops. Once out of old bunk bed, another time out of an old trampoline. Have you seen the one I've got? It's made out of an old wooden wardrobe. So someone was throwing a wooden wardrobe away. I said I'm having that, and I turned it into chicken coop. And it's a really good. I think it's a really good one. We've got 47 plot holders coming, finally getting some engagement after all our hard work. Oh, wicked. That'll be a nice shindig. Right, we're way past 9 o'clock, and my wife's making Seb de Roses. My wife's making the pickle for, well, it's another batch of mixed pickle, ready for market tomorrow, so I need to go and help her. And I've been away for longer than I said I would. I said I was only going to be this was only going to be a quick live. But yeah, I got carried away a little bit. So I'm going to leave it there for this one. I'm going to sign off. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'll see you all next week.